Hello students, we are going to discuss about oogenesis in this class, which is a very conceptual topic. So what is oogenesis? Oogenesis is the process of production of female gametes or ova. Oo refers to the ova or oocytes or the female gametes, and genesis means synthesis or production or formation. So oogenesis means the production of ova or production of oocytes or female gametes. Like spermatogenesis, oogenesis also involves three major steps, that are the proliferation or multiplication, growth and maturation. Usually oogenesis begins inside the ovary but completed inside the fallopian tubes. So let us begin with the steps of oogenesis. The first step is proliferation or multiplication. Proliferation or multiplication, which occurs during the embryonic life inside the ovaries. As I have discussed earlier in the video of folliculogenesis 1, that ovaries are filled with diploid primordial germ cells during early embryonic life. And from the primordial germ cells, by repeated mitosis, large number of oogonia are produced. And oogonia are the precursors of female gametes or ova. That means these oogonia are going to convert into ova later. So these oogonia produced from primordial germ cells are also diploid. So from oogonia, the primary oocytes are derived later. By the age of 25th week, that means when the embryo is of 25th week, we can find large number of oogonia inside the ovaries, and this number of oogonia is fixed, means the number of precursor cells of ova is fixed, and after birth no more oogonia are there to be produced. So after 25th week, then further growth of this oogonia occurs. They get nourishment from outside, from the follicular cells, and they are converted to large primary oocyte. So what happens during the proliferation phase? The primordial germ cells, they give rise to oogonia. So these are diploid, these are also diploid by mitosis. So this is the phase of multiplication or proliferation. So after that, after 25th week, what happens? The oogonia takes nourishment from outside and they increase their size to many folds. So the enlarged stage of oogonia is now called primary oocyte. Here I have taken only one oogonium. So here is one primary oocyte. The oogonium gets nourishment from outside and has converted to the primary oocyte. And this primary oocyte undergoes which phase? The meiosis phase. So now the growth phase is over. The second is growth phase. What happens? Oogonium is converted to primary oocyte. So now what will happen? The primary oocyte, the grown up, the enlarged primary oocyte undergoes meiosis 1. We know that meiosis is the haploid type of division which occurs in the germ cells only during the production of gametes. So primary oocyte undergoes meiosis 1, but the growth of that primary oocyte is arrested at diplotin phase of prophase 1. So at birth, inside the ovary, we will find the primary oocyte whose growth has been arrested during the prophase 1, and it is surrounded by many follicular cells that we have discussed in the previous videos, that is in the folliculogenesis video. So now we have primary oocyte inside the ovary at birth. So after puberty, what happens? Under the influence of androgens, especially the estrogen and follicle stimulating hormone, further growth and development of the primary oocyte begins and it completes its meiosis 1. Here M1 is completed. So under the influence of FSH and estrogen, the primary oocyte completes its meiosis 1 phase and produce a large secondary oocyte and fast polar body which is very small. So here a large haploid secondary oocyte is produced and a very small polar body is produced. Here there is unequal distribution of cytoplasm. The polar body is too small due to almost the presence of nil cytoplasm because secondary oocyte contains large amount of cytoplasm. So why this type of division? What is the significance of the polar body formation? It is believed that polar body is formed to eliminate unwanted chromosomes and healthy normal chromosomes are restored in the secondary oocyte. And there is another cause. At the end of the oogenesis process, we need only one ovum. Why one ovum? Because we need one zygote to be formed and thereby only one fetus to be developed inside the uterus. Because human uterus is designed to nourish only one fetus, not multiple pregnancies. It cannot afford multiple pregnancies, or that is why we need only one ovum at last at the end of oogenesis process. So here one functional secondary oocyte is produced and a non-functional fast polar body is produced due to unequal cytoplasmic distribution. So after that, what happens? Up to this step is completed inside the ovary. The secondary oocyte which is formed in the tertiary follicle, you remember the tertiary follicle, early tertiary follicle which is formed inside the ovaries. So inside that the secondary oocyte undergoes meiosis 2 when it is inside the ovary only. So meiosis 2 begins, but it is arrested as at metaphase. The meiosis 2 begins when the secondary oocyte is inside the mature follicle in the ovary. So meiosis 2 begins but arrested at metaphase due to the presence of metaphase promoting factors, MPFs. So due to the presence of metaphase promoting factors, the growth of the secondary oocyte is arrested at metaphase, and at that stage only the arrested secondary oocyte along with the corona radiata layer is released into the fallopian tube on the day of ovulation. So after ovulation, what happens? Now the secondary oocyte is inside the fallopian tube. If fertilization occurs, during fertilization what happens? There is sperm entry into the secondary oocyte. If the male gametes come and sperm enters the secondary oocyte, it breaks. What breaks? It breaks the metaphase promoting factor and stimulates, let us write here about the maturation phase. M1 is completed. At the end of M1 we get secondary oocyte and fast polar body. Then secondary oocyte undergoes M2, meiosis 2 or maturation 2, and the growth is arrested at metaphase, and this secondary oocyte is released into the fallopian tube. So when sperm enters, what happens? It breaks the metaphase promoting factors. So no more the metaphase promoting factors remain influential or remain functional, and it also simultaneously influences the anaphase promoting complex. Anaphase promoting complex. So there are group of chemicals only. Here there are the factors. Metaphase promoting factor includes certain chemicals, and anaphase promoting complex also includes certain chemicals. So on the arrival or of anaphase promoting complex, what happens? Further development take place. So simultaneously what happens? Sperm enters and the second maturation division going to complete. So this is converted to oocyte or ovum, and sperm finally enters. There is fusion of the sperm nucleus and the ovum nucleus. There is amphimixis, and finally at the end of this M2 phase, zygote is formed. Not ovum, a zygote is formed at the end of meiosis 2. That means if fertilization does not occur, as it happens in most nulliparous women, in every menstrual cycle, at the end of every menstrual cycle, that happens, sperms are not coming in every month. So fertilization will not occur. So up to this phase, M2 phase is completed inside the ovaries, and this is released, the secondary oocyte is released into the fallopian tube. Sperms do not come and no fertilization is there, and that secondary oocyte is degenerated. If the sperms come and one sperm try to fertilize it, try to enter it, then it undergoes meiosis 2, the anaphase of meiosis 2, and meiosis 2 is completed. As a result, what is produced? The intermediate structure is produced, that is oocyte, then to ovum, and finally a zygote. So this is all about oogenesis process. So these things up to the secondary oocyte level happen inside the ovary, and after this all these things happen inside the fallopian tube, in the ampulla part of the fallopian tube. So let us summarize. From primordial germ cells during the early embryonic period, by mitosis large number of oogonia are produced, and the oogonia further divide mitotically to form additional large number of oogonia which are diploid, and oogonia are the precursor or stem cells of female gametes or ova. So now each and every oogonium undergoes growth phase, that is the second phase of oogenesis, undergoes growth phase and are converted to primary oocyte. Then primary oocyte undergoes meiosis 1, first step of meiosis, but the growth is arrested at diplotin phase of prophase 1, and at birth we will find the primary oocyte whose growth is arrested, and after puberty under the influence of androgens M1, the meiosis 1 phase is completed. As a result, a secondary oocyte, a large secondary oocyte along with a very small non-functional polar body are released or produced. Then at this stage only the secondary oocyte is released into the fallopian tube. When it undergoes meiosis 2, when the at the Graafian follicle stage or late tertiary stage, what happens? It undergoes meiosis 2, but the growth is arrested at metaphase. So at this stage only it is released into the fallopian tube, and when sperm enters the secondary oocyte, then it releases the metaphase promoting factors, and it enhances or it accelerates the anaphase promoting complex to be functional, and under the influence of anaphase promoting complex, what happens? The meiosis 2 is completed, and eventually an oocyte, then ovum, and then zygote is formed at the end of meiosis 2.